Go ahead and call this special meeting to order. Today's date is December 3rd, 2025. Time is 6 o'clock here at the Powell County Emergency Operations Center. If you don't care, let's all stand and say our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and remain standing. Dale?
You bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we love you and we thank you so much for allowing us to live in a country where we're free to gather and free to discuss. And we pray hedge of safety around this group as they travel. We pray for the masters, Lord, and to give them the knowledge and wisdom to make the right decisions that affect us and our community. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Connie, if you don't care to call roll.
Dennis Barnes.
Here.
Dale Bowen.
Here.
Jim Thomas.
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Brian Kenny.
Here.
Chad Patton.
Here.
There is a quorum.
There is a quorum. First thing under discussion, and one of the things that we'll make sure everybody understands tonight is a special meeting, and it's a little bit different than what we do on a regular meeting. Usually we'll have people sign in to speak and stuff like that, but on the special meeting, we're not going to. People has told me that tonight, people's gonna be disorderly and all this stuff. We're gonna run a good meeting and please everybody, just, respect everybody else, all right? So, first thing, we'll go ahead and call Hollerwood. And one of the things, a lot of people, and I appreciate everybody coming in, but a lot of people has a misconception about what we're trying to do to Hollerwood. I've heard that we're trying to sell Hollerwood to buy fire trucks. I'm trying to sell Hollerwood to stick money in my pocket. I've sold Hollerwood to do this and do that, and that's not anything of the truth, all right? Basically what we're trying to do, and I've said this over and over again, whenever I first came in, Hollerwood, I wasn't a big fan of Hollerwood. I'll sit here and tell you the truth. But Hollerwood is a great opportunity. It's a place that is very well known throughout the community. It can be a real prosperous business, but not for the county, all right? What we're doing right now is we're not doing good for Hollerwood, all right? The county is we don't have the money to operate it. We don't have the resources, and I feel, and it's the feelings of the fiscal court, that the best way is to put it into a private entity, all right? And what we're looking at is trying to do a lease agreement. One of the things we did before is we talked about P3 agreement. We had one group interested in it, and come to find out, basically what they were wanting to do, it could not go into the P3 agreement. They were wanting to purchase part of the property and lease part of the property, and that's not a P3 agreement. So now what we're gonna have to do is we've got an attorney drawing up a lease agreement that's a professional on these leases, and drawing it up, and at that time, we will allow people to get a lease agreement and see what they wanna do. And so that's what we're looking at. So the rumor that, and let me say also, selling's the last resort. But if, and like I say, awful big if, and we're not, not wanting to do that, but if it was, then we talked about deed restrictions saying that Hollerwood would still have to be there. Whoever bought it, Hollerwood would still have to operate. So that's what our best interest is Hollywood. It's not just getting rid of it and stuff like that, you know, we wanna make sure that this thing goes. And, you know, it's to benefit our community, just same as it is in the county, so. That's where we're at, alright? Robert, do you wanna elaborate on the lease agreement type deal?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, Judge, but I'm not necessarily the one drafting that, and I don't know what the end product's gonna look like, but ultimately, the way I think it'll work, we should have it this week, that's what I was told. I think then what, will happen or should happen is that we would sit down as a court and look at that over, decide what we like about it, don't like about it, things that we may wanna add if there's something that's not in there. And kinda just finalize, you know, this will be the bare bones, the bottom, the basics of what we want, and go from there.
And two things that we have discussed, what the bare minimum we're looking at is, one is our property payment. It's somewhere around $127,000 a year, and we want insurance on it. That's the bare things that we're looking at, alright? And basically what, we're looking at, and guys, anybody that wants to chime in or anything like that's fine, but basically what we're looking at is the bare bone of that. Where we do the leases, you know, whoever brings in the best offer, and we can justify that agreement, that then, it's up to the fiscal court, the whole fiscal court, not me. A lot of people say, you're selling it, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, it's us, you know, that we're doing it. We will decide on, who gets it.
How much is it forecasting that we're gonna come up short this year?
Well, right now,
A little over $5,000.
yeah,
How much?
A little over $5,000.
well, they had a, yeah, they had, and basically, what's going on this year is that they've got, what is it, money set aside for another piece. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was around $100,000, $110,000, something, that they've set aside for that. You know, the bond payment, then they've got some other things that they're gonna try to sell off the, food truck that Hollerwood bought to, make his payment, you know, and the county will probably have to put some money into the bond payment and stuff. So, you know, we wanna get this done, you know, because, like I said before, we're doing Hollywood a disservice. You know, I'll say that, I'm not proud of it or anything like that, but, you know, it can be better than it is, a lot better than it is, so.
Yeah, I'm an off-roader, I love off-roading, but it's not fair. The other taxpayers in the county have to pay on that, no, when they should be able to pay for itself.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're looking at also, the reason why that we're trying to do a lease agreement on it versus selling it or doing anything else is that, we have 3 grants totaling out to about $750,000, for the trails, you know, for the maintenance, trail maintenance and stuff of Hollerwood. You know, we think that if it goes into a different name or anything like that, we won't be able to use that money. So that's the reason why we're trying to do the lease agreement versus anything else. And also, some people has, looked into, is it First Frontier Trail Systems for trail maintenance and stuff, so, you know, I don't know what the exact wording of that is, but they have done work with the state and other maintenances and stuff like that, so hopefully they would be able to use that money to do the trail maintenance.
How much we have?
It's right around $750,000. And Tommy Tipton, I don't know if he's here. Tommy, have we got that money yet?
Yeah, matter of fact, I got an email from them just today wanting to know when we're ready to start spending.
Is that the first one or all three?
All three.
All three.
And it's a little bit closer to 800,000.
And Tony Tipton, y'all don't know Tony Tipton, he's the executive director of Hollerwood. So, Tony, do you have anything to say on this?
No, I think it's good that we're making forward progress, that's the main thing. Brings a lot of money into the local economy, from all the side benefits, all the restaurants, all the camping, all the cabins, everything fully rented out when we're up and fully operational, and it's a big stroke to the economy locally, and,
And that's one of the things, you mentioned a couple things there, is, you know, this is me, you know, I would like to see benchmarks on the lease also. You know, if we make it, you know, in 5 years, you know, what kind of progress are they gonna have, you know? Cause some of the things I'd like to see up there is, I'd like to see a campground, you know, some type of camping. You know, some cabins, you know, whenever we say cabins, you know, I'm looking at cottages and stuff, because people that go up there to off-road and stuff, I am not an off-roader, so I'll tell you that, I know nothing about it, so. But, you know, they get up there and they get muddy and stuff, they want a place to sleep, eat, and clean up, you know, and that's what I've heard, so. You know, we're not looking at people building $1 million cabins and stuff over there, you know, it's just, that's what I'm looking at, y'all.
I got a question. I'm from Louisville, but my first impression of Hollerwood is, as far as the office went, when I first came in there, they have facilities in there, okay? There's no lighting, there's lighting on cords and everything else. That seems like that would be something that needs to be addressed immediately as well, because
Oh, yes.
visitors come in and you walk into the washroom and you go, hey, turn the light on, there's no light in here. It's all that stuff has to be finished off.
And that's what we're concerned about, is, you know, whenever people come in there, you know, me personally, whenever I go into a business, I want somebody to greet me.
Yep.
I don't wanna do online buying or doing this or doing that. You know, if I have a problem, I wanna go talk to somebody, and that's one of the problems right now, based upon what I'm hearing, is nobody's there, right?
I won't say one, and I'm gonna be cordial.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm gonna be cordial, so everybody chill out.
I appreciate it.
So, I've probably been involved in this longer than anybody sitting in this room, okay? I've been fighting the Forestry Service since 2006, okay? Me and Jeff, we came up with the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway, which is a huge economic resource. You know, ask JL and his campground over there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You know, they have rides, and, you know, you can't get another person in there, okay? About the same time we got the byway, which the byway was started in we come up with a conception around 2013, 14. It was about 15 or 16 when we implemented it, which is about the same time we got the park going, which I was one of the main ones to help get the park going with our previous judge. Okay. Since that time, okay, we didn't have an economic boom up here until those two things happened. You can look at the numbers. I've got all the numbers. We can discuss all this. I just want everybody to realize the ramifications of what we're talking about. There's the best number I could find around 200 to 225 Airbnbs in this county. Okay, supposedly we're the number one Airbnb place. That's not hikers. That's not you know, rock climbers.
Yeah.
They're at Miguel's up there in 10. So if you say let's just say 200. Okay, I've talked to several people who are Airbnbs, and they say they average between 35 to 55,000 a year. All right, that's $8 million in this county. That's just Airbnbs. That's not cabins. That's not Five Guys, which has been built since that started. That's not Callie's, which has been built since that started. That's not Ryder's Ranch, which has been built since that started. If you drive up through there, how many cabins do you see? There's hundreds of them. They're everywhere. All right, you're talking about, since it started, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that's come through this county that wouldn't have never came through this county, all right? When we started all this, we all rode through Sand Lot, you know, up to Sand Lake, and it was all illegal. And I was fighting the Forestry Service over losing the narrows. And we come up with a byway so we could save a bunch of these roads. We saved Spalls Creek, we saved Mountain Springs, we saved all these roads, which is part of the byway, which our friend Luke has taken over. The Daniel Boone Byway is one of, if not the best trail system in the whole United States now, which is tied in with the CAT. You can get on those two trails and drive 1,400 miles now in Kentucky, all right? 1,400 miles in Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, okay? It's insane. All of that has came to fruition since we started this. So, you know, I have a lot of my life invested in this. You know, I've had several state representatives in my truck, walked out to the Narrows. I mean, I've been in this since the beginning. It's been a nightmare. And I don't care what happens, as long as it don't get lost. I've got too much invested. And if it got lost, there's gonna be a lot of cabins that's gonna go defunct, a lot of people who's got businesses. I mean, if you wanna do an economic, impact, I mean, I'd love to see the economic impact of the actual numbers of the things that's come into the county since it started. Like say since 2018 it got rolling. It's exponential. And then the taxes. How much have you made off the taxes? I know the county talks about making money to make the payment. You're within $5,000. That's a push on a county level. How much money has the county made in taxes? How much money does the county make over 200 Airbnbs being up there? How much is that? I'm saying the fingers go out a long ways. Once you start following the
I
fingers,
just think that.
it goes out a long
Hollywood's
ways.
been managed where it makes money.
Well, and it can be. It was.
I know.
It did. It did make money.
That's the only point here. We don't want Hollywood to go away.
And that's all I'm here because I'm the voice. I want to be the voice of reason
Listen,
to
if
say
we
that
wanted to
hey,
go away, we would put it
there's a
on
lot of
the
people
internet and sell it.
who's depending on this,
Yeah, we're
not just to ride, but they've got businesses, they've got cabins. Timmy Tipton's got 2 Airbnbs up there by my house. I'm all the way on top of Cane Creek. That's 20 miles away.
Yeah.
And I would say 50% of his people are here to ride. Now his is probably more 50-50. The closer you get to the park, I'm sure that number goes up. You know what I mean? It probably gets up to 80%. I would bet money that it's 80% off-roaders because you got 2 people coming in. They either drive their Jeep in or their truck, and they're going to off-road, so they need a cabin or a place to stay. Or you got somebody that trailers in, all right? They're going to need a place to stay. Or if they drive a motorhome in and they call it, then they need a campground. If you go to Cali's, every weekend there's 20 rigs up there, 30 rigs. If you go to Riders Ranch, there's 40 or 50. They just had that Jeep. Wasn't a Jeep Jamboree, it's the Southern Four-Wheel Drive Association. I don't know, did any of y'all see the pictures of that? Have y'all seen the pictures? Okay, there was probably 400 rigs. There were 400 Jeeps up there. 400. The parking lot was bumper to bumper. They were parked all the way down the road. So I live on Cane Creek, which is part of the byway. If you go up Smalls Creek and up, Pumpkin Holler, you can come back around and come by my house. Every day during the summer, if I leave the house, there'll be 30 Jeeps go by, or 40 So Hollerwood, you all don't know this, I'm also a dirt biker. I'm a mainly dirt bike rider. So adventure motorcycles, the DVB is huge. They love it because it's just hard enough to be hard on a big bike and be fun, but it's still not so hard that they're going to kill themselves. There'll be 50 motorcycles go by my house. I mean, I know y'all aren't into off-road, but the economic impact is unbelievable. If you look at the pictures from about 2 months ago when they had that up there, there was an unbelievable amount of people up there, okay? And every one of those guys bought food, bought gas, stayed somewheres. The economic ripple effect of this is pretty big, and I just want everybody to realize the severity of what we're talking about. That's all. I mean, I don't want to get nothing started. Well, I have all kinds of numbers. I have all that. This ain't the time and the place for that, but I do have all that. I do have all of it.
And again, thank you, we do appreciate it. But again, we're not going to get rid of this. We know that this place can do good.
And the management part, and like Ronald here, Charles, they had some people, cut a fence at Charles. And I even made on the post, I was like, whoever did this is an idiot. Because we all kind of police ourselves. Everybody here knows everybody, we're all off-roaders, we've all met each other. And they cut his, because they leased the land. Britannia got taken over by the First Frontier. Britannia's land backs up to Charles's, and Charles is where we always used to go down. He's got some of the best wheeling up there, all right? And he lets all of us locals. He's super awesome dude, can't say nothing good about him. We always try to help him out with the fire ride. We've always had a good working thing. You got a bunch of idiots up there because it's not police. It's not open. You don't have somebody up there that knows what's going on, that says, hey, don't go down there and go down Charles's road. He's a cool guy, he lets us ride there. Don't go there and cut his fence. Don't be an idiot. it's kinda got to the Wild West because the park's still there, people still buy passes, people still been riding, but there's nobody up there to kinda police it and say, hey, don't go down there and go cut a fence at Charles's house.
Totally agree.
You know, and I even put on there, if I catch him, I'll smack him in the face, because Charles has been good to us over the years. He could have stopped us from riding years ago, but he's not. He's always been good to us. And then some dummy goes down there and cuts his fence because they got lost. That's what, they got lost and they cut his fence, you know what I'm saying? But if the park was ran right, you had somebody that knew what they were doing, that took care of the park, that cared about the park, right?
Yep.
Okay, the numbers would go up. You saying that they didn't make no money because the last months we've had all this fighting going on, this turmoil. It was the county's fault. They didn't know what they were going to do with it, and it's got to be. If it was ran right, if you look at the previous numbers, how much money it made. What did it make in 2020?
We've got it right here.
What did it make in 2021? Right.
Yep.
So it paid for itself. Plus, I know because I know the numbers. Right. So if it's ran right, it does great. But it has to be ran right so people don't get like, and not just Charles, but other people up there. You don't want them making that. You know, I don't want them making people mad.
This is our neighborhood.
Right,
You know,
because
this is my front yard.
when I try to go and save a road, right, I have to deal with the government trying to save it from them shutting it down, the Forestry Service, which is, you all think you all are bad, the Forestry Service, you ain't got nothing on the Forestry Service. And then you gotta deal, we saved 2 roads that had a guy's house right there, and the road went right through their yard. Well, guess what? I can't help it. I didn't tell him to build his house there. It's still a county road, and we've proved it, and they've had to back off. But you got people pulling guns on us. It gets to be, so you don't want people going through there and then going out in that guy's yard doing a donut, because then that makes my job hard, and it makes your life hard. You know what I'm saying? So if it was ran right and policed right, it would be a whole lot easier. They would say, hey, don't go down the road and cut Charles's fence, because they would know to do, you know what I'm saying, they would know better. But it's kind of went almost to the Wild West up there. That's the best comparison to my company.
Phrase we use.
The Wild West. That's what it's kind of got.
It is absolutely.
I tell you, I want you to keep on talking, because everything that you're saying is, we totally agree with you. That's what we want too. You know, we want people, because we do, you know, every time it gets warm and stuff, but we've got people calling and complaining every weekend that the road riders, not the good people, and that's what I've tried to tell the people up there.
Which we've got the law passed now where they can get them. You know, I helped Eric. We did all that. So, you know, you can get a side-by-side license and register now, which that don't mean you can go willy-nilly crazy down the road, but it does open up where you can do more of the byway. One good thing now, that lets people do part of the byway, where before they were really tied to only doing the park. But now if you've got a side-by-side and it's tagged and insured, you know, now you can do parts of the byway because you can drive it on the road now, which is that's a huge plus for everybody. I mean, that was a big deal. And that wasn't an easy thing to get passed. Eric put a lot of time into that. You know, the senator that supported that bill, it was a nightmare, you know, to get passed. And that's a huge thing.
And I figured Chris Fugit would be
Yeah,
here
but-
tonight.
Like you said, licensed.
But
Sure,
Right.
they're not doing that.
Now,
It's gotta be licensed and insured.
Everybody in here, did y'all hear what he said? Because that is exactly what we want. You know, we want people to be able to go up there and go in and ride and have a good time. And if you have problems, we want you to be able to go in and talk to somebody. Just like the neighbor, you know, the neighbor.
Can I show y'all this picture?
Yeah,
Can I approach it?
yeah.
So this was from, that's the parking lot. Okay. That's one picture.
While he's doing show and tell, can I just get a little clarification
So
from the
that's
fiscal
the
court?
parking lot there.
Just real quick,
Every one of those reads
I know we've
$100,000.
discussed that you guys are
This ain't
doing
no small
a
thing.
new lease
Hang
agreement.
on just a second,
That's
because
what
I
I'm
can't
saying.
hear both of
I
you.
just, while he was showing the picture, I just wanted to ask for a little clarification from the
Okay.
fiscal court. I know you guys are discussing that you're trying to draw up a new legal document for a lease agreement. But ultimately, all of the management until now has relied on having to go through the fiscal court. Am I correct in that?
No, no,
If
absolutely
you,
not.
you did not,
No.
whoever was managing the court did not have to get approval for things?
Wherever we came in,
To
wherever I came in
approve
in
the
2023,
building or the,
I asked how the tier system worked there, how, you know, the hierarchy, who was, you know, who did what. And basically, I was informed that, Nick Rose was the manager, and he had people out there working for him. And then Tony was the executive director, and then they had the, Hollerwood board, and then they had the industrial board. And I asked him, I said, well, where do we come in at this? and they said, you're just the money people, you
So,
don't make the
but
decision.
to get approval for the use of money or
That's-
to.
that's how we're
And that's,
going
and that, you know, after he told me that, we were like, no, if we wanna, be part of this, you know, we need to have some type of say-so into it.
Right,
But it was
And-
self-sustaining,
and-
the general fund didn't put any money into that.
No, everything until this year it's been self-sustaining, you know, it's been doing, I'm not gonna say great, but it's been taking its own. And that's what,
That's what all this is about, we're
That's
just
what
trying to
we-
get ahead of it, so it don't go completely.
hang on just a second. And that's what we're trying to say, is that we want this thing to succeed just as much as you all do. Because, you know, right now, the insurance, you know, and, you know, Robert would probably kill me on saying this, but the insurance, do you know how much insurance we have on that place up there? They have been relying on recreational immunity, okay? And Robert, ever since I've been in, you know, he's saying, I don't like it. And I don't like it, you know, because it's a big liability for us. And, you know, that's the reason why that our bare minimum is to make the property payment and put insurance on that.
I'm sure Eric can help, Eric
Yeah,
can facilitate
Eric
with
can.
insurance, Eric can get insurance.
Eric will get it.
Because where he's tied to the state, he can, you know,
Eric, I talk to Eric about 2 or 3 times a week. Eric, you know, but, you know, do what?
I,
Still didn't answer the question.
I just don't, I don't understand how,
Hang on.
if
Who's,
it's owned by the,
Where we at?
it's okay, it's.
What?
You didn't still answer her question though.
Okay, well, I'm trying to do this, then I'm gonna answer her question, so go ahead, and finish
Oh,
what you're
no,
saying.
as a property owned by the county, I would have assumed that, and I just wanted clarification, because I heard somebody else comment on the facilities and things like that. I just assumed that the fiscal court would have to approve things like trail maintenance, or building maintenance, or parking lot
When
maintenance.
we came in, no, we didn't.
So who's over that? That's Hollerwood.
I just wanted clarification on that.
They didn't do
That's a
anything.
good question.
That's what I wanna know.
But that's the thing, no, we did not have anything to do with it. You know, I ain't forgot about you. But that's her problem. Is that really, and, you know, I might step on people's toes, you know, but truth's the truth. You know,
We've been working 3 years for a P3.
yeah, the management's just had to be there. All right?
That's not true.
But,
That's not true at all. That's not true.
yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No,
Man-
the management was
you know,
there, this lady right here, Holly's been there every day.
Yeah,
The Hollerwood board approves anything that happens.
yeah. And Nick, you was the one that told me that, how the hierarchy went.
Yeah, so the management, if we're referring to myself and Holly and the people there, were there. Like it was, if you look at the numbers, we took over in 21, it went from 200,000 to like 350,000 the first year, then it stayed in the 300s all the way to this year, or maybe the beginning of this year sometime. Our contract ended, what,
Well,
4 months ago? 3
Yeah.
months ago?
no, actually, it's been less than that.
Yeah, September.
But the thing about it is, you know, we're losing money on it.
no, I beg to differ. You didn't lose money. You're within $5,000 of the payment, but if you exponential out what's been built, they built $8 million worth of
And we're not
Airbnbs.
saying losing, we're not.
It could be bigger, that's what you're
We're not,
saying.
we're not, yeah, we're not
Okay.
doing the best we can.
I agree, it could be way better,
And
yes.
I bring to this, my past job was lawyer proofing facilities and jobs, road jobs, construction jobs. I know what an attorney can come in and do,
Well,
and that's what scares me to death.
the riding part in Kentucky, it works pretty good. I ride dirt bikes. I got a track at my house. I've
but
rode
that's-
all over the state,
that's-
I've more than probably anybody in this room times 10.
I'm
And
not-
if you're given permission, it stands up, I'm not saying they can't sue you,
No,
but I'm
it's-
saying most of the
that is
time,
for-
you know,
that is
it
for
does
abandoned-
pretty
go back and
good.
Look, that's for abandoned lands, and it's not a place that supposedly is in business to make money. That's what Robert and I'm concerned.
Now, if you have permission, then you're pretty much giving up your right to sue. That's pretty much how that works.
Well, I mean, I can see that going sideways when you get.
Well, but I mean, anybody can sue for anybody. I can walk out here and trip and fall, and I'm gonna come in here and sue you because it was,
Well,
I mean, it can
no insurance on
happen.
this place.
It can happen, but most of the time, that's not how it works. I mean,
It
that's
happens to us a
people.
lot, we got insurance.
Once you sign the form to ride, if you pay to have a pass, right, and if you're up there and you don't have a pass, then you really ain't got no, and I can go back to say, there's been what, 2 people die up there, and you haven't had a lawsuit? Is there 2 people? I hate that, that's terrible, that's a terrible number.
Just one.
Just one?
Just one.
I thought there was another, but I'm saying, and, that's a terrible thing, I'm not proud, I'm not, I don't wanna use, I'm not, that's terrible, terrible, terrible for that person's family. But I'm just saying, there's not been, and the park's been open since what, 2018? Is that when we finally, when did we open?
Yeah,
2018?
October.
18, and I was one there, first rescue the day it opened.
You're killing your age.
I ain't gonna just, I'll get you.
No, that's what I was just trying to explain the hierarchy, that, the Hollerwood board had to approve it, the industrial board had to approve it, and then whatever needed to take place, any kind of maintenance or trails, or the fiscal court never approved money or anything to do with Hollerwood operations.
Yeah.
I would bring up issues.
Thank you for.
Yeah, I would
Why
bring
does
up
it go to
issues.
the industrial board? I ain't never figured that out.
That's how it defined when the old judge executive, he wanted the industrial board to kind of be involved. So just for everybody's clarification, the way it went, Holly brought up an issue, I brought the issue to Tony brought the issue to the Hollerwood board. The Hollerwood board then either voted on it or took it to the industrial board, and it came back down to either proceed or not proceed. It never went to the fiscal court.
Is anyone here tonight from the Hollerwood board?
Yeah.
This is.
I was just curious, I don't know who was on it, I didn't mean to speak out of turn, it was just kinda curious as to.
Yes, sir.
I just have one quick question. Those grants, are those open to apply for by anybody with an established nonprofit
I'll be honest
for
with
trail
you.
maintenance stuff? Because Kentucky Crawlers, we're a nonprofit. We've been around for a long, long time, and we maintain a lot of those trails. So if there's an opportunity there to
Yeah.
have
Talk to Eric
training.
over.
Okay.
Eric can tell you, or Scott with.
They got this year's grants for the deal now.
And, well, Tony back there, he might be.
Yeah, I'll get his card then.
Yeah.
If you're a nonprofit and you have properties that you want to establish trails on or maintain, if you're a nonprofit agency and the county government in that local area that you're wanting to do the work will sponsor that, then yes.
Okay.
If you are a government entity already applying like we were, then it's automatic. They automatically will allow you to apply.
And I think that, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but, the Department of Local Governments, the past 3 years that you applied, basically, you were about the only one that applied, wouldn't you?
Right, and, they set aside, it's federal highway money from federal government, goes to the state, DLG manages it, and they set aside 30% of all those funds for motorized vehicle, recreation. And they've got a bunch of that money there for motorized that nobody ever really applies for. We applied several years in a row, and we received some every year except for this last year.
So you've applied for it, but how does that get trickled down to the people doing the work?
How do you divvy out the money to the
Yeah,
people in the north? That's what
like
he's
how
asking.
can our local off-road club that is nonprofit,
Right.
got 501c status and everything, they're already coming out and cleaning trails
Yep.
and doing cleanup rides and charity
What you would
rides
do is,
and,
once that grant money is awarded, then you go through the process of applying through them and
Through
showing
you.
them what your expenses are.
do
your costs.
we apply through you?
No, you can apply yourself.
Where does your money go then, that you've already gotten hold of?
earmarked.
Yeah, it's already earmarked.
To who?
You have to.
You have to
generally,
Apply
you
for a
gotta have-
project, Michael.
Gotta have kind of a narrative, like what do you wanna spend the money
It's
on,
already
I wanna
spent.
see that up front.
That just ain't done. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why we don't wanna sell it, we wanna try to keep it as government. quasi government thing? Because if not, then those grants go away.
Yeah, we don't, we'll lose that 750,000.
That feels like real money.
Yeah. It's just, the reason we haven't gotten to it so far is because of administrative issues with Department of Local Government. The girl that was in charge of it passed away. They lost all of our records. They put a new person in charge of that. She worked for like 6 or 8 months and left. Now they've got somebody new in there. And, now we've got it to a point where, like I said, they emailed me as recently as today and say when we're gonna start. So, we're ready whenever the fiscal court's ready.
And that's the thing we're trying to do, we're trying to get this thing finished, because I think Dennis or somebody said, we've been kicking this thing down for almost 3 years now. You know, ever since I came in, they were doing it where I came in. And, you know, so we need to get it settled, get it fixed, and for that, this Hollerwood, this off-road park can actually thrive.
So I feel a little more warm and fuzzy, but I've got a question for you, and this is to you personally. So, you know, you went before the state tourism board to ask for money for infrastructure.
Yes.
Okay. I've got the video on my phone.
Yeah.
So Eric Hubbard gets up there and he talks for an hour and a half about tourism blowing up. He had the guy from, King of the Hammers. He had the BMW motorcycle group there, which is 2 of the largest groups you can have.
Yes.
How OHV's blowed up, it's gotten huge, it's gotten big, it's, you know, like he had all the numbers for the month, you know, cause Eric's on top of all the numbers. And this ain't got nothing to do with Eric, he was just there, and that's the reason I watched the video.
Eric actually did the presentation before.
Yeah, so I actually watched the video, and I was like, because I keep track of Eric and what he's doing. So he goes up through there and goes through this big spiel about how OHV's blowed up. You had the guy from Black Mountain saying, hey, we got 600 side-by-sides every weekend up here. You had the guy from Louisville, because I guess the board members from the State Tourism Board are from all over the state, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't from the tourism board, it was senators and representatives.
Okay, so, and they're all like, yeah, we've done this, we've done that. And then you get up there, and in your speech, you're trying to get money for infrastructure. Okay, so the guy just got up there and talked for an hour and a half about how great OHV and how it's blowed up. And you're trying to get money for that, for cabins, right? Infrastructure,
Well,
water, sewer.
For water and sewer, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you never mentioned the park a single time. Now, that makes 0 sense to me. Either you kind of slipped up, I don't know what you did. But if a guy got up there and talked about how great OHV use was, and you got up right behind him and was trying to get money for infrastructure up there, why did you not use the park? That should have been the biggest golden ticket that you could ever have. Say, look, we got this park up here, we got people wanting to build cabins, and you never mentioned it. And that's what really made me mad, and that's just me being honest.
That's fine, but I can explain, is because one of the things that, I'll be honest with you, I'm worried about the lower end of our community, our county, Clay City. You know, I'm worried about getting infrastructure for our water, for our whole community.
Well, that's not what you talked about. You talked about infrastructure up there. You had the guy you had 2 guys, you had the guy from the Welcome Center and the other guy. And you did talk about Clay City a little bit, and it does need it. I agree with you. Clay City's in bad shape.
We were limited on time. We were
that really kind of irked me. I'm just being honest, it irked me because that would have been your golden ticket.
If you watch the video again, you know, they apologized because we were limited on time. And, you know, I probably didn't mention Hollerwood.
You know, we talked about the solar system on the Welcome Center, we talked about all this stuff, and you had the biggest ace in your pocket that you could ever have to get infrastructure money. And you never put it on the table. I don't understand that, because you could have got money for that. And I'm just asking, this is just me asking.
Well, no, we're asking for the whole community. You know, that's who I'm worried about. I'll be honest with you, I'm not worried about this one certain location.
I agree with that. Clay City's not in good shape.
I work for the community, I work for our county. And, you know, the way it is right now, and you can go to Clay City, go down there and look and see what they have. You know, they're gonna drive, you know, if people don't like me using that analogy, they're gonna drive and blow away if we don't do something. There's an industrial park that's been sitting down there for 23 years.
Oh, you're not telling me, I've been asked about it.
Not a thing has been done to that, all right?
I agree.
Whenever I came in, the first week I came in, and Connie can attest to this, is we lost $500,000 because it hadn't been used since 2015 on that industrial park. You know, we lost another $125,000 because we had, you know, they didn't use it because of the industrial park, you know? And, you know, we have to get industries in here to get people to come in here.
Well, you don't have the infrastructure down there right now, that's the problem.
No, and that's what,
You don't have the
first thing in the morning, I'm going to Frankfurt, and I'm taking over $10 million worth of budget requests in, because, you know, we have to get the water. And the thing about it is, the areas that need it the worst is upper end of the county. Powell's Valley Water, and she's gone now, but Powell's Valley Water, they do not have the infrastructure to support people. They're on line bans right now. You know, I had a guy came in and wanted to build a subdivision, a 30-home subdivision, and they couldn't because we didn't have the infrastructure. And, you know.
I'm not disagreeing, that's 100% correct.
But we have to worry about the whole county. You know, that's my thing, we have to worry about the whole county. And, you know, I apologize if I didn't say anything about,
It just, it hurt, and I'm just being honest with you, I don't wanna get out of context, but I
that's
think,
one of the things
just.
that I was nervous as hell, I'll be honest with you. I store all the pieces, I didn't know where the shit is gonna wind up there, and so, you know, I didn't, you know, I'm not a good public speaker, you know, but, you know, we want what's best for this whole.
That's all I want.
You know, that's me, and, you know.
You may not have mentioned it in that speech, but every trip we've been to Frankfurt, meeting with people, Hollerwood's been brought up.
Yes, yeah, and it is, you know, you can ask Speaker Osborne, you know, I met with him back in November, Senator Stivers, you know,
That's Senator Smith.
Yeah, Brandon Smith.
Yeah, I know Brandon really is.
Ask Brandon, because Brandon's helping us a lot here in this community.
Yeah, he's a good guy, he also rides dirt bikes, so that's why I like him.
Well.
He does,
He's our voice here. You know, I'll tell you that much right now. And I'm, this ain't throwing no politics, I don't.
Oh, no, he's a good
I
dude,
don't care
I
about
mean,
politics.
he's a good dude.
But,
You know,
but
he is a good guy.
he's doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't realize. You know, Governor Bashir, you know, people say, why are you talking about the governor? Because, you know, he's a Democrat, you're a Republican. No, we're public servants. And, you know, I've aggravated the dog pee out of him about helping us up here, you know, and he's telling me good things are coming up here, you know.
I've had three senators in my truck up there driving around.
And talk, well, you know, ask them if they've seen us down there. Cause we've talked to so many senators and House representatives and stuff like that, it ain't even funny. And the main thing is, you know, the first time I went down there, I thought they were going to choke because I asked them for $40 million. You know, because that's in order to get this community in order, that's what it's gonna take. You know, and we had to bring it down some, we had to bring it down to $20 million. And they said, well, that's doable, but now that we have to justify it. And the justification is, and you know, I've said this in our fiscal court meetings, but our infrastructure is our water and sewer first.
Bad.
We have to start at the bottom, and because right now, Beach Fork, they can't pump any more water. You know, they're pumping 2 million gallons a day, and they're at max capacity. You know, they can't do anything. That's the reason why the Powell's Valley Water has line extensions.
So the next meeting, it's next Monday, or
Tuesday.
Or next Tuesday, are we,
Hopefully Tuesday.
is he gonna have, are you gonna have a proposal, do you think you'll have something by then?
When I spoke with the attorney that's drafting it, she said it'd be here this month, first week of December.
Okay.
So hopefully Tuesday.
So maybe by then, we'll at least have a proposal, and then these guys back here who's wanting to talk about taking it over and working it, they'll be able to do something, you'll have something where they can.
Yep, and everybody here, I'll be expecting to see y'all Tuesday. Cause I want y'all to come in here, guys, this is y'all's meeting. We work for every one of y'all, that's simple as that. And.
Do they have to bring a proposal with them, or just?
Not just
No,
come.
yeah.
We won't have,
But
we won't have the outline of it until the next meeting.
But we want you here. we want your opinions and stuff.
We need to do that.
Yeah, we'll have to look over the proposal.
Well,
Yes,
I've
sir.
we reached out to you. We were the ones that got Hollerwood off of
Yeah,
the
Keith,
plateau. Keith
Yeah.
Mason, yeah.
yeah,
We put together a small proposal for everybody to look over for what you asked us that you wanted bare bones minimum.
uh-huh,
I've got an insurance policy, quote, got a lot of numbers put together for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have the big backers that other people do, but, the community needs someone that cares about off-roading, that knows best management practices to protect your waterways and your streams. And if no one's ever heard, on my birthday in 2019 or 2020, I can look back and find the picture, I had all of them, the Division of Water, Oil, and they all wrote me a golden certificate. You can ask Tony Tipton. He was on that board. This was before Powell County owned it. And I wrote this place off a few years ago. We've got a whole packet for every person sitting at that table to go through. I wrote it off because we weren't the best thing. We were the, high growth rate, super successful, and we left out of here. We sold all of our properties in Peaceful Valley. We left out of here and swore we'd never be back. And after a few phone calls, well, I mean, we still get phone calls. My number's all over the world, I guess, but after a few upset people have reached out to me, we took a ride through the park. You can charge me for trespassing, you can, whatever you want, but I was not gonna pay to ride through there. And to see the loss and the destruction of all the hard work that me, my family, my friends, the people of Lico, all the crawlers, all the Ohio River guys, all the hard work they put in is gone because of,
Lack of management.
Not maintenance.
just non-maintenance, or maybe just didn't know how to maintenance properly easily and not spend a fortune on it. But you can look back through all the open records that we've tried to get our hands on and not been successful.
what have you asked for?
Just
So
basic,
open-
like
open books to see, so we had information that
they
we
helped
could-
us yesterday and got us the 2 things we needed for today.
Okay.
And we have a packet for everyone to look through. I can't promise you millions of dollars worth of insurance. Number one, the only insurance company that will touch this, I spread that, I gave that information to other people. Other people have already reached out to them. But in order to carry that, the park has to have enough infrastructure to make it viable for anyone to be able to run it and operate it. And I can't offer you $150,000 the first year. I can offer you an insurance policy. I can offer you the best service that it could be. I didn't really like living up there all the time. But I told, no offense to you, but I told James Anderson and Tony Tipton when he approached me, and I told James right to his face, I said, I'll make that place the park of your dreams. And I did just that. And when we were approached and asked how much money the board made, I was approached by a board member, I'm not saying any names, but I was approached by a board member that came up to the park and said, well, how much do I make off of this? And I was like, well, you didn't invest, you all said you don't sell parts. Tony can attest to every one of these questions that has been brought up in multiple meetings. They sold park passes and t-shirts. They didn't want nothing to do with anything else. They never asked. But after that meeting, I told my wife that day, I said, pack your things, we're done. We had give back. If you look at our contracts, our prior contracts, if the park didn't make money, Keith didn't make a penny.
Well, and the thing about it is, on that, everybody in here has the opportunity to put in a lease agreement. Everybody here, if you wanna, put one in, put one in. Ultimately, wherever it comes down to it's gonna be you guys right here that makes a decision. on that.
Well,
Yes,
like
sir.
I, s-
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, like I said, we've worked tirelessly since we reached out to you, what, 10 days ago?
Yeah.
And I didn't do that for my own self, cause I'm really enjoying my life, riding my bike every weekend, boating every weekend. Like, I didn't need this headache, but I was asked by business owners in this area and by very high up in the off-road community, people that said, they've got to get you back. And I don't have a lot of equity, I mean, I don't have a lot of capital, but I know I can make it. I mean, I took it from, I don't remember the days, but Tony might remember the days, but when I finally signed the contract, I told them it'd be open in like 2 weeks or something, and they laughed. Tony, how long was it before we were open?
About 2 weeks.
Yeah, like 9 days, actually.
And again, tonight, we are not gonna make any decisions, cause we can't make any decisions. Because we don't have the lease agreement, y'all don't have the information packages and stuff like that, so, we have to get the lease agreement, we have to review it first, and, because, make sure that Robert's okay with it, make sure the fiscal court's okay with it, and then go from there.
But you do think, Robert, that you'll have that by the next meeting, you think?
I haven't heard anything,
Pretty
I
good
haven't heard
idea.
anything different on that, yeah.
You've done a lot of policing too, Corinne.
So we were put on the agenda for the next meeting. We just wanted to be able to, for the fiscal court, the ones that are gonna be making the decision, ultimately, we wanted to introduce ourselves, and we wanted to, make sure that you all knew that we were still passionate about the area. We weren't gonna come back, but again, it's because of our love for the off-roading, the off-road community and the local community in that area is why we're here, because they've asked us. And to come back and to fix things and make it to where it's profitable again. It was on its way up, it never met its climax. And now we see it's on its way down. So,
Is it all right if we hand out our proposal now?
or
and you all
just
can
our
go over it?
information, it's just our information.
Robert, are you?
Robert, we have one for everyone on the board. We have a folder together with all the information that,
And one of the things I do wanna say right now is everything here, if they do give us, this is not gonna be, all right, we're looking at this and we're gonna make a decision, yeah, we like this,
no, I understand
No,
you've got a
no.
proposal, but
We're not, we can't do that.
No, and we want to work with the county for what the county needs and wants, cause we want it to be successful and we want it to make money for the county. It should be paying its own payment, it should, and it has in the past.
well, we were told you all would love to look at it, so if not, I mean,
I
we,
just brought the books
If
to
it's-
give
if
an
it's all right.
introduction of
I don't see
us.
any reason why court can't look at anything you want to,
Okay,
you know, I
okay,
mean.
yeah.
And I'm just here, like most of these guys, I know most of these guys, they're all riders, and we're just here because we don't wanna see it go away.
Hey, we appreciate it.
That's what we're,
And
we don't wanna see it go away.
I will say this, is, that's not our intention. That's, and I've told everybody, before I really got to know Hollerwood, I thought it was crazy. I thought it was stupid as hell, but now that I see that there's a potential up there of, it's been good, but it can be better. That's the thing. And we are not out to shut Hollerwood.
And Charles is tired of people cutting his fence.
Exactly.
Well, and one good thing about the part of, and one of the things that I would, this is Eddie speaking. This is one of the things that I would like to make sure that we have in there is the security issue, of the locals.
Well, I used to, I could call someone at 3 a.m. Cause trust me, they're out there at 3 and 4
Oh, yeah.
a.m.
Oh, yes.
in the morning.
Yeah.
And I called him and he would be there. And he wasn't kind to them.
Yeah, the night of the fatality, we left out.
I was right there with you, bub.
And at 2 o'clock when we left, and it was colder than well diggers town.
Yeah, I know all about it.
People still, boom, 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 and that's what I told people, I said, man, I don't see how that the local people stand it.
and
Well, I
And it's no
don't.
disrespect on anybody else, but, we have to respect, the
And
people
listen,
there.
we're all about you doing that,
Yeah.
and we want you to bus people, I
Yeah.
mean, the
Yeah.
people who actually ride and know what's going on, the idiots make, you know.
the other people.
Two bad apples make the rest of us look terrible, so we
I've
don't
made
have
this
a problem
comment
with that.
several times.
Yeah, but it's 100
That the
bad
good
apples.
people
it
is
is.
gonna take care of the bad people.
And I would like to say one last thing, the insurance company that is available, if there's someone riding on that park, there has to be someone on that park, and there has to be someone that can be reached by phone immediately.
Well, that's what I like to see.
Well,
And we
exactly,
live
but I'm
there
saying,
24/7.
I'm just saying, like, the only insurance company in the US that is worth having, they pay out less than 19% of claims. That's who you wanna hire, is the attorneys. You don't hire an insurance company to have a number. You hire them because they don't pay people and they beat everything in court. That's who, and I've shared that with other people. I mean, there was other people that were wanting to put in a bid that have now turned around to back us and help us to move forward with this.
And, again, we as the government cannot provide that. You know, and I, and I'm not, whenever I say this, I'm not saying anything bad or anything like that. But whenever we came in, we had a little bit over $2 million in the general fund. And people talk about, $2 million in my bank account, that would be, hell yeah, that'd be good. But for a county government, that's bad. And that, that $2 million on a bad day could cost, So, we wanna make sure that we cover ourselves, and we wanna make sure that we cover Hollerwood, because one major lawsuit, we could lose everything, and that's what we don't wanna do. And, and riders, I appreciate every one of you goes up and rides, I had several people, come on up, man, I'll take your ride, stuff like that. Y'all probably get me out there killing me, but, just please rest assured, and guys, I wanna say this, if you have any questions, call us. That's, because I've heard so much bull crap that people said, yeah,
So real quick, I just want to clarify a few things. First, I will say, like, not taking anything away from Keith and Mano, when they got the park open, it was great. First I want to talk about address the whole, there's never anybody up there. So Holly, right here, she put her heart and soul into it. She was up there every single day, that it was open. She was up there when she called for. She took care of every single rider that was up there. She answered the phone. I don't appreciate the disrespect toward her for people saying that. I want to clear that room up right now. If there was any questions, you can ask her when she was, what she was, where she was, but I can attest to her that she was there, okay? Tom, he polices trails, like, he was super proud of the place, did a great job, loved it, still
I
loves
like
it.
Tom.
Still right now to today, we don't have a contract, he's not getting paid, still takes care of it, still talks about it.
Ask about it every day.
Ask about it every day. So that everybody understands the original contract, my proposal, when I looked at the Hollerwood numbers, right, I said, okay, from a business standpoint, the numbers that this is showing, it should be $60,000. That's my offer, I'll give you $60,000. Cause those were the numbers that Hollerwood, if you broke it down in the business, that's what it showed it was worth, right? The actual, what we proposed was two proposals. I'll give you $60,000 and run the park, or I'll run it for 2 years, and this is what I think it's gonna cost. I think it's gonna cost $120,000 to operate this park for people and utilities and everything else. And we'll see what Hollerwood's numbers are at the end of that time, true numbers. There was no auditing done before, it wasn't tracked very well, the system wasn't operated optimally. And that's not a jab at anybody, that's just the fact. If you look at the data, it's there. Y'all have the paper with you. We turned that around, got the operating thing going great, got the system going great. Holly knew everything that happened, everything was ordered, everything was there, everything was running, right? We did that for 2 years. It was great. The P3 thing came up, like, we're gonna do something. The reason was, now the county knows, like, okay, this is what it's worth at this point in time, right? So now the county can actually make something hopefully happen. The P3, drug on and on and on and on. And it drug this out to the point where, you know, the main point is exactly what Anthony's already made. All the businesses around this is what should have benefited from this park, and it did, and they did for a long time. Now, we've drug this P3 on for so long, it's becoming a problem. And something has to happen. And to be quite frank, I would love to continue with this, and we'll get to the lease thing, whatever, but it needs to continue in an off-road park, and it needs to happen sooner than later.
Totally agree, I agree, you know, I agree, you know, both what you
Yeah,
and
and just to speak about the trails, trail maintenance was approved one time this year. I personally don't control trail maintenance, I don't control utilities, I don't control the upgrade of the premises, I don't control any of that. In my contract, I control none of that. The requests were made, once was approved.
So who did you talk to? Who was the request?
The same thing we always do, me and Tony bring it up, the board looks at it, if the numbers are there, they usually have no problem with it, if they're not, they're not. But you can look at the numbers year over year, from 2020.
There we approved it,
Yeah,
but there toward the end, we were waiting on the,
waiting on the trail,
grant
maintenance,
money.
the
A
grants.
lot of the trail maintenance.
The grants were
Stalled.
installed.
So it snowballed.
Yeah.
It snowballed
It was,
fast, yeah.
because up until what, this year? Was
But
it Tony?
if you look at those numbers on the things, if you look from 2020, $200,000, 2021, like 350, and forward, it was over 300,000 every year is what Hollerwood made until the P3 started dragging out in this year, right? So the end goal is we should hurry up and push this forward as fast as we can, regardless who gets control of this park and runs it. It needs to happen sooner than later.
I totally agree.
Is the
That's
next meeting-
that's what everybody here.
But
agrees.
I'm talking to this too, right here. What everybody needs to understand, it's not just the county. It's not the county's concern. The county makes plenty of money off of taxes and businesses, but it is businesses that are running around this park that's the major concern. And is what we
Well,
should be
Eddie,
focused on.
the park doesn't just require bulldozers and, you know, like them to approve money. Like, it requires someone that knows how to keep a trail maintained. We rode around with Maddox and simple hand tools, and 99% of them trails, unless it was something major new that we had to build to get around the Britannia blocking us off or something like that, like, we didn't ask for money. I spent my money and kept your park in amazing shape. And wore out 2 dozers up there, rented hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to keep things safe for children.
And our salary was not,
Our salary was never anywhere
half
near
of that.
that.
The board didn't pay for any of this?
The board, I did not say that. I said if it was a major, I'm not gonna argue with you. You've slandered me
Yeah, we're not-
over and over on Facebook,
Hey,
and
I'm being
you,
professional, you need to do that.
Hang on.
then you keep
Let's-
stay
let's
away
stop
from
right
me.
there. Let's stop.
Don't speak to me.
Let's stop, stop. All right. You know, we're either gonna talk right, or we'll just call a meeting.
At the next meeting, is all the park board members gonna be present also?
I think they should be.
I mean, that should be how we gonna talk about it? The board members aren't here, you know what I mean?
I agree.
The industrial board should be here as well.
And the industrial board also, yes, yeah, agreed.
So they're still gonna be the ones making the decision?
Decisions need to be.
We're gonna be making a decision.
If this court is making the decision,
This is it.
then I am all in, and whatever you need, I will do. But if it comes to the other 2 boards and the micromanaging you to death, trying to make more money, they're the ones that held that park back. No offense to anybody that was on it. I'm just
I agree.
stating the
I don't-
facts.
It doesn't matter who's on, I agree with what he's saying, and we've had this problem since the start. It's micromanaged to death, and it ties whoever's running it.
Yeah.
Keith, Nick, it don't matter, if Ronald McDonald's running it, whoever's running it, having to go through so much, it ties their hands and they can't do what they need to do. And that is a fact.
Well, I will agree with that, and we started, I was with you
Yep.
up there on many times.
Yeah, that's right.
With Max and shovels cutting trails in, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's important to me, but I didn't know how, I never did understand why I went to an industrial board. I can see maybe the tourism board or Parks and Recreation.
Everybody wants a cut.
I know, and.
That's all it is, everybody wants a cut, let's
But
be honest.
my point of it is, I'm sitting here as a master for that district, okay? And I don't think that, everybody, we have too many, if I'm gonna be responsible for it, I wanna be the one to make the call. So ultimately, the way Robert talks and the way I know how things work, if there's a problem, we're gonna be the ones to take the hit from it, okay? So.
I don't disagree with that.
If that's the case, I wanna be in
Yeah.
on making the decision. And that's
Yeah.
been my point, we have kicked this, and the P3 thing drug out because if you guys remember, we talked about it, I didn't even know what the hell a P3 was. Okay, so we studied it, we attempted to hire an attorney, thought we had to help us with this, and then he went away. So,
Well,
that caused us 2 or 3 months delay in that, and then we attempted it before, and so, yeah, I agree, it drug on too long, and so, if we don't get P3, we're gonna go with this for Sandy.
It does need to be less micromanaged for whoever.
I think and one thing I wanna back up JL on is on, year and a half, we had the people looked into the P3 and we had them to do it. And come to find out, basically what they've done was copied and pasted for sales.
Yeah,
Another city,
Yeah.
and that's what we had, so there we go, okay, we gotta stop here we go again.
Did they take over all Britannia's land?
But,
Yes,
Boneyard.
No, not all of it.
but
Boneyard.
do I agree it's taken too long?
Townsend Cave.
Yeah, it is.
So the spot
but
going
is it
down
our
the main
fault?
trail
No,
going into the
you know,
upper
it's the
Widowmaker,
No,
where they put the
people
gate
that
up.
we
still
we
closed.
hired
It's still
to do
closed.
this.
Yes.
So now then, hopefully by the end of
That's
the week,
carded,
we'll
didn't
have
he?
a lease here and, next
It was
Tuesday.
about growth. He
If
told me to
you're
run over.
interested,
Bulldozer.
be here and, hopefully.
I cut it down.
Tony, can you contact, all the Hollerwood boards and see if they can be here?
Yeah.
Okay, and, tell them probably 8 o'clock would be good, because usually, 7:30, because a lot of times, we get into other things first before we go into closed session, so.
That's on December
It's
9th,
next Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
Same location
Yeah.
or a bigger spot?
No, right.
Cause we're packed in here.
We don't, well, we're gonna move stuff around, we'll get some more chair stuff out of it. If not, we'll have people second our laps.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
so I'm Eli Johnson, a member of Kentucky Crawlers. Michael Christ is another member here, and we weren't as big a part of it as you
Oh,
were
you
when
was,
you started.
you all did good.
But
Y'all
so a lot of
did
us have really.
Yeah.
I relocated my family to Powell County, just because we love it up here.
Well, we
The
appreciate
park,
you
the park's extra, but we love it up here. But, we were a big part of kind of getting this off the ground. It's like hands on the axes, so to speak. And, next week it's gonna be more packed and probably a lot more tempered, but it's quiet and it's a few of us. I don't care who runs the park. Nobody I've talked to cares who runs the park. What we care about is that whoever runs the park, it's gotta be more than a financial decision. It's gotta be somebody that cares about the off-road community. This isn't just a Kentucky thing. We did the meet and greet ride, a month ago, had 350 Jeeps up there, people from all over the southeast United States, and we all know each other, we all talk to each other. It's gotta be somebody who cares about the community, not the money. I know the park has to make money, no one would argue with that. But if you don't bleed off-road, this isn't a job for you.
Yeah.
Regardless of who it is, I don't care. I've known Keith 30 years, I've met Nick a few times, I don't care who runs it. I want it to be open, and I want it to be open for my grandkids, for
Right.
whoever.
That's right.
I don't need to talk to somebody who's in charge who's never met Mr. Booth. If you don't know who Charles Booth is, you need to go back to town.
I made a bunch of.
So, but I've talked to people who were in leadership that didn't know who he is. But whoever you guys decide, even if it's less profitable for the county, it's gotta be somebody who cares. I care. A lot of people in this room who showed up tonight, we care. I'm not on team anything except for Powell County and the off-road community. I got not a penny to be made on this.
Yeah.
But I love, since 1975, when I threw my leg across a Honda 70 ATC, I've not got back off. I live and breathe it, every day of my life. And I don't wanna run it, by the way. That's not a problem. No way.
You want a job?
No. I know you guys don't love the headache either, but whoever does it has to love it. You know, and if they don't love it, but they can say, hey, I can make you this much money because I like to make money, may not be the person. It's somebody, whoever's gonna do this has to care. You know, they gotta just care.
I agree.
Now, I'm gonna do this if I lose money. I got, you know,
Yep.
somebody has to care about it,
And
as
you
much
got-
as we do.
And you gotta
As much as
remember how
y'all
much money the
community
county's making off the finger.
Yep.
Let's get
And-
real.
And that's what I was gonna bring up, you know, first of all, you know, to respond, thank you for everybody being very nice, very cordial, very level-headed, and not getting pissed off and all this stuff. That makes these meetings go a lot better, you know, because we don't like, you know, people arguing and stuff like that. Second thing is directly, and please let me finish before Anthony kills me. Directly, we don't make that much money off, you know, people don't realize, you know, the Airbnbs and stuff, we don't make money off them, not directly, you know. Today, I signed a check that, hang on, I ain't finished yet, let me finish.
Okay.
But today, you know, and they don't understand, is transient taxes that these Airbnbs come in. Today, I signed a $34,000 check that we got in, and Connie, what do we do with the check?
Right back out.
We send it right back to tourism. We don't get that money. People don't understand that. We don't get that. Now, indirectly, we.
Make a lot of money.
Yes. We
200
do.
Airbnbs, if you say the average one was $100,000, that's $8 million worth of homes or buildings that got built in Powell County.
Yeah, indirectly, you know, look at the.
Taxes.
The,
Sales
food,
tax.
the gas, you know, the lodging and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, we get taxes and stuff off that, and we appreciate that. That's how we survive.
That's why there's Five Guys, Callie's,
Yeah.
Riders Ranch,
Yeah.
all the Airbnbs, all the cabins up there.
Yeah.
That's why all that's there.
Yes,
And you
sir.
can look through the county's financials, if you go back to when we got the park, when we got the park started and we got the DVB started, that's when the growth started.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and they can talk about hikers and rock climbers. If hikers and rock climbers was behind it, it'd have done it 20 years ago, because there's been hikers and rock climbers up here for eternity, right? But when we got the park going, and when we got the DVB going, that's when the growth started. And it's exploded. I mean, land, the price of land in Powell County is ridiculous now.
Yes.
And you know why? It's been driven from that, from people coming here.
Yep, I agree.
That's what's driven it.
And that's what I started to say, is we're growing too fast. You know, we're outgrowing our infrastructure, you know.
It was already crappy before we started growing.
That's not, that's everywhere in these counties right here.
And, you know, I don't wanna get into all the stuff, the affordable housing here, you know, there's no place to people to come in and rent, you know, because most of them are Airbnbs and cabins and stuff, you know, and that, you know, to the business, that's good, you know, but for our local people, you know, but we can't start this housing until we get our local stuff, our infrastructure started and start building up. As you said, start building the fingers
The
out.
fingers, yeah.
And, yes, sir.
You guys are the only one that can stop that.
What do you mean? I'm.
For the affordable housing.
Yeah.
Quit letting, I'm a cabin owner myself, quit letting so many of these cabins be built until the infrastructure's there. I think the water system has stopped that already.
Yeah, what, right
It
now.
really has.
But I mean, it's a different county, but you got your neighboring county here, a development of 1,100 lots and 1,200 lots. What's gonna support all that?
Planning and zoning is
Yeah.
where you're gonna stop it.
You know what I'm saying? It's gotta
Yeah.
stop somewhere until the lower infrastructure's there.
Right
But
now.
they just keep granting all these people
Right
all
now.
the ability to keep buying all this land, separating it off in so many lots, when you don't have anything to support all that.
And you're right, zoning and planning, we don't have any zoning and planning.
Well, Lee County doesn't either.
But the thing
Does
about
that
it
not fall back on
is,
you guys if you don't have it?
these people,
It's been in the works for years. The ad has been trying to get countywide zoning, place city zoning for
Well,
a
those
long
two,
time.
planning and zoning, those two words are death sentence to your campaign if you wanna get elected here.
Yeah.
It's like taxes.
yeah.
Nobody wants it.
You know, again, I'm not a politician, I wanna do what's right for here, you know, I wanna make sure that we grow.
And I guess all Natural Bridge, even right there at the park, it's not zoned at all, is it?
No.
No,
No zoning,
there's
no
none
code,
zoning.
no nothing.
Same thing
There
with
was
Owsley, Wolf
People
Powell,
now,
and
you know, and I will say this from, you know, talking to realtors, you know, people right now, they're calling from California, Washington, you know, Virginia, West Virginia, all over. They're buying property here sight unseen. And can we stop that? No, we can't. You know, I'll tell you that right now, we can't. But can, you know, and the cabins that they put up here, you know, some of them up on Stargap Road, there is no way in saying hell I would even say them. You know, because it looks awful, you know, it looks like it's about ready to fall. You know, without zoning and regulations and stuff, nothing we can do. You know, we've contacted state fire marshal's office, and they, you know, they're over housing regulations, stuff like that. But that's as far as we can go.
Fair warning, everybody wants planning and zoning until they come on your property and tell you what you can do.
Yeah.
That's all well and good.
That's right,
until-
you're right, yeah.
Until.
Or you need a
I'm
permit
just saying, as
or
far
you
as
can't put
the
that
big
on.
problem
Yeah.
that you mentioned about the lower infrastructure.
Right, that's right, lots of
You're
more.
gonna have to stop property growth that's not regulated.
Yeah,
be
but
able to
plenty
get
of
the
time, you
lower
can make your
infrastructure
own
going.
rules up in your own county.
You know, I tend to agree with you. But, you know,
Somebody has to have the authority somewhere within the court system to say, hey, this is enough.
All they're seeing is taxes,
huh?
taxes, that's all they're seeing.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a quick question, and it's just kind of like for my knowledge. You stated that you hired a lawyer to draw up the lease agreement. And I don't need to know names, don't wanna know names, but is that a local lawyer, or is that from away from?
Away from here.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what she does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she specializes in that.
I
yeah.
just from my knowledge, I was wanting to know if that was a local or somewhere away
No,
that
no,
maybe didn't have.
Yeah, no, and the first one, actually, the first one we started out with on the P3, they were not from here also. you
Okay.
know. And, this second one, in which we've done the research on her, you know, she used to work for the Department of Local Governments, she used to specialize in lease agreements and the P3 and all that stuff, so, you know, she does have knowledge on what we're doing.
Okay.
And,
One more thing, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
And I did overhear you say that when you guys got the copy, you would, I'm sorry, I'll stand up. so you
Yes.
can see me.
Oh,
When you guys got the copy, you would go through it to see if anything needed to be added or
Yes.
taken away or
Yes, ma'am.
anything. At the public meeting on the 9th, will the public also be able to review that and offer suggestions that you maybe could take into?
Hey, Robert? Yeah, I wanna make sure.
You know,
I
to
don't-
make
I
sure
don't-
everyone, because there is a lot.
Make suggestions on their leave.
Well.
When you do that, you're putting the time limit out there more.
Well, I mean, you know, I agree with you.
This is me, they can override me, all right, but me, I think that you all elected all of us to work for you and to make the best decision we can, for you.
Yes.
And, hang on just, but before, you know, I think that if we pass out 40 or 50, 60
No,
different.
I'm not
leases.
saying that. I'm not saying pass out and let everybody study, no, that's not what I'm saying. But at the next meeting, obviously, the lease will be gone over, okay,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
made public.
Yes.
And if there is a suggestion that someone else, because there is a lot of business owners here, there's a lot of business people here, there's a lot of people here that this affects. And if there is something that maybe sticks out to someone, can they maybe make a suggestion, be like, hey, have you maybe thought about doing this? Would it be taken into consideration?
I think we would be bad matches or whatever, if we didn't listen to that.
And one of the things that you can do, Friday, you know, say 12 o'clock, call the office.
This
Okay.
coming Friday?
Yeah, and hopefully, you know, hopefully we've got it, if not, you know, we can review it. And then if you wanna come in and take a look at it in our office, you know, come on in. I don't
Give me a
mind being-
phone number.
606-663-2834, option 4. and my cell phone number is 859-771-5872. Now, if I don't answer you, be sure to text me and
Okay.
say, hey, this is me, I'm looking at this, that way I know who you are.
Okay, my name is Lori Carpenter.
Okay, please meet you. Anybody else? Yes, sir, sorry about that.
That's all right, I have a request. When you give out this lease packet that we're supposed to bid or whatever, can we get a couple of years of financials, sort of how that come to that, whether it's church or whether it's.
So this is, I mean, I don't want to put a damper on this situation, but this is exactly why we're 3 years away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now.
I think y'all got it, already. He said he had on this, I mean, y'all thought financials, just gross income.
I mean,
No, we've got it.
It's on the
It's
Hollerwood
on the
website.
Hollywood website. It's 23 and 24
So
is
what I
on there.
anticipate, you know, she tells me that we would have that this first week of December. You know, what I anticipate is that the fiscal court itself is gonna have to sit down and take that lease and say, okay, this is how we're gonna fine tune it for what we want. So, I mean, I'm not sure, Judge, that by Friday, you're gonna, I mean, if the fiscal court, if we have it then, and then if the fiscal court is, we'll be able to get together and say, okay, we're gonna go over this is what we want, then, I mean, that may be a possibility.
I honestly think it's gonna be next meeting before we got it.
Yeah.
Before it goes out to the public.
And the problem with that is, I'd say the next meeting, you know, it was put on the interweb that not everybody showed up tonight, right? And you still see how many showed up.
No, I don't.
No, we want everybody.
Well, no, it was noticed, it was put out as it's a special meeting, we're not going over
Well, I
the whole,
mean,
you know what I'm saying?
we have other, at a recommend, we have other county business, and I asked this to the judge because so many people had called and asked questions, you know, and we decided that we'd have a special meeting so we could get.
Well,
correct
so
now.
it was put out on the internet, most of the people will agree that it was saying, hey, tonight is just gonna be a preliminary discussion. The main discussion is gonna be Monday, that's what everybody thinks, I don't know, that's
It's
what.
probably not gonna be the next.
Well, that's what everybody thinks, so what I'm telling you in advance is, probably, Monday, you're gonna have 4 times as many as these people show up.
I look for it to be Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you the, you know, I'm telling you, that's what most people think. This was preliminary, and then, because we can't sign up to talk, which it's been we've had a pretty good discussion, I thanks everybody for that, we've had a good discussion from everybody. But they think the main meeting is gonna be next Tuesday, and there'll be 10 times as many people here for that. I didn't know that, I've done seen the rumbles on the internet, so I'm just giving you a warning that that's probably what's gonna
That's
happen.
the thing, you know, guys, if you hear about the rumbles, you know, I want everybody to come in. You know, and I want everybody to talk, but I will say this right now, you know, I will not put up with anybody in here fussing and fighting shit. You know, first time is a warning, second time they'll leave. You know, we don't want that, we wanna have a good discussion like we're having tonight. You know, this is excellent, we've got a lot of, you know, I think we've got a lot accomplished here, and I think a lot of information's came out, and your input, you know, has helped a lot. You know, but it will not do any good to have anybody here fuss and fight.
Well, I wasn't saying fuss and fight, but just sheer numbers, you're gonna have a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
Sheer numbers, there's gonna be a lot more here too.
Hey, that gets me dead, cause I want people to come up here.
They just give us more bad apples, so.
It does.
More people.
I think the people that planned, that we know or have heard and it's spread on, you know, on the social media about it, is they're not here to fight, they're here to support.
Right.
And they want to see the park, you know, succeeding and everybody enjoying the park. You know, it's a huge, you know, thing for this county and for this area and for that community of people. And they wanna support it, and they want, you know, what's gonna make the park good and what's gonna make the park successful and they can be a part of.
And what we may have to do is, depending on when we get this contract, when we can look over it, when we can discuss it.
You might wanna put the meeting out and have another special meeting so everybody shows up. Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest, that's why I told you that, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get it and it's late, you can't go over it and say.
Deadline when we make a decision on which one we want.
Great question. Great question.
I'd say.
Sam, he always has these good questions.
I would say that by the first of the year, we want to be rolling.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes.
At least.
I've got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So, I've been to a lot of the Hollerwood board meetings with Nick, everyone else. And it always seems like the biggest holdup with whoever is in management, whether it's when Keith was in there, Nick's in there, there was always railroad. As far as, you know, hey, the park wants to do this on, just for an example, like July 4th weekend. Well, we gotta put it before the board has to approve it. The board only meets once a month. Well, before you know it, that weekend that you're trying to plan something for is already here and gone.
Or too far.
Is that still gonna be part of the new lease?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Greg. Are they gonna control how we run our own business?
Takes this lease, are they gonna kind of be the management and not have to go through all this approval to do fireworks or have a Toys for Tot ordeal or whatever? I mean, are they just gonna be able to do it within limitations?
I give you my opinion, but Robert can actually.
The way I see it, whoever releases it, as long as
It's
it's
theirs.
been
It's
scoped.
theirs.
I can say this, that in my conversations with all these boards and the fiscal court, none of them want the obligations that they have with Hollerwood. I mean,
Amen.
they were sad, I mean, I honestly believe that the industrial board feels like it's not something we can be involved in. And hopefully this lease is gonna be a situation where that person runs it.
They're not gonna be as governed as now.
No.
Trim the fat.
Because I mean, and everybody, locals and everybody is nervous as can be, because, well, what if somebody gets in and they start doing these big events? I'm sure with something of that scale, there'll have to be something for you.
I mean, that's the problem you run into, do you want it or do you not want it? And if they start having these big events, what are we gonna do, you know, if we're having too much success?
This is my opinion on it.
That's horrible.
Because I mean, the park has the potential to be a large growth. A lot of the parks around this area are very profitable and supply a lot of economic growth to the whole community around.
My thinking of it is whoever gets the lease, as long as it's in the scope of the lease, they run it.
Can you put that in the
Amen.
lease?
And I'll give you mine, you know, the main thing that I'm worried about is that payments made.
That would not be a problem.
That's
right management, that would not be a
that's
problem.
I can consider bullcracking, but that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the two things. You know, I don't wanna manage that park. I want somebody that comes in there that they can manage that park. They can do the trail maintenance and whatever else it takes to make that park a success. You know, my opinion is, if you wanna do fireworks up there, just as long as you get your permits from the fire marshal's office and, you know, it's not dry as a bone and stuff, I don't care what you do. Just as long as it's not one of their.
I mean, one great event like that would pay all of that.
He'll sell some front porch.
Well, I like having the big events for everybody, but we also don't want to have that rain, but,
No.
so we need to make sure that we got control of what happens. I think the person leases it should be running, but also we need to maintain a little bit of, no redneck rains.
Now, that's one of the.
No, absolutely
And that's
not.
gonna be who you all, based on how you all choose who the leasing will be, because.
Yeah, Justin,
those
Tom, and that
people
whole
wouldn't have
group,
them.
no, they tried and tried.
Bouncer races, I'm all for that.
Yeah, rock bounce race, you know.
Oh, yeah.
SSR, yes, correct. Yes.
That's been my complaint, that I think that I don't wanna run it. Right. I don't want to, I'm tired, I don't wanna use it. But I do want the park to succeed, and I wanna be supportive of it all I can. And we have, I mean, he knows that a long time ago, I mean, I've played these trails my whole life. But I agree with you, and I don't know legally we get by with all the boards and all that stuff, but like I said, me sitting as a manager, if I'm responsible, I wanna have something oversight to make sure that it ain't gonna go haywire and all that. in this body, we represent the people, we should, if we're gonna get the blame, we should be able to choose and sort of guide or whatever. I don't wanna come up there and be the boss of everything. I'm done with that. You know, as a group, I think that we're elected, it's our job, is to guide things down the right way, how we see, and take responsibility for it. And not blame, I mean, this is what it's gonna be, like I said, whoever is the manager of that place, obviously, they're gonna have to be able to engage with us, engage with the community, engage with the search and rescue, the fire department, everybody involved, you know.
And they're also gonna be able to, they need to be able to not have their hands tied and be able to make money, so they
That's what I'm getting, that's what I'm saying, get rid of all the board shit and do it.
Let me back up and say something, you know, where I said about making sure the payments made, make sure that we have insurance, that's all I'm worried about. Well, let me back up and say that.
I wouldn't throw that.
It's good, you know, we don't wanna do day-to-day operations. You know, we don't want micromanaging, you know, I hate micromanaging. You know, I'll be the first one to say, I hate that. But if you're gonna have a big event, you know, it'd be good, you know, 2-3 months down, you know, before that event, come in to the fiscal court, say, hey, we're gonna do this, you know, July 4th. And, you know, just kind of give us heads up, and that way that we as a board, the courts, can say, all right, man, that's good, but have you thought about this, or you thought about that, you know, your safety aspects, you know, where you gonna park, you know, and not saying, no, you just can't do it, or whatever, you know, you know.
Kevin has helped manage lots of big events here. You're gonna get on your pony right away sometime soon, I suppose.
But I'll still be around, but I do.
Okay, but what I'm saying is we would want you to come, whoever, you know, like for a big event, 3 months somewhere down the road, to interact with our emergency management or EMS, fire, and everybody like that, but it's safe for one thing to start with. And we plan for it. And
That's
like I said,
placement
we
of
have really
assets,
good-
that's not running it for you, like he
No,
said,
no.
it's just placement of assets and to be on the same page.
Well, yeah.
You wanna be prepared if something goes south, very much so.
Yeah. But as far as us sitting there going, this is what you guys do.
I got nothing to think that's the way it should.
What?
Who actually appoints? I mean, I know we appoint them, but who actually?
I don't know, who's on
I'm embarrassed to ask it.
I'll be the first one to say that, I have no idea who's on board.
Ain't they
I know Tommy is and Dennis is,
Ain't they staggered terms?
but I have no idea.
We have to appoint them.
Well, I'll say this, there's a lot of them on both boards that don't have any idea about nothing to do with the off-road, and that's all I'll say. I was call out no names, but there's a lot of people that have, it took us, and I'm not on Nick's side and I'm not on his side, I'm here for the park, all right? I like both of them, all right? I'm here for me, and people who like to ride, and I want it to succeed. But it took us, I dealt with this for 3 years. We had the park for 3 years. And they wouldn't own it, and finally Keith said, I'm opening, I don't care what you all do. That's how it got open. Cause I dealt with that board. Because half of them have no idea about a crawler or a dirt bike. Or if I told them I had a crawler, they'd think there was a spider coming up my leg. They don't know the difference, okay? So, and then you go through the park for Hollerwood, then the industrial board park, and it's daunting because people, it's almost like, well, what do I do?
Well,
you know,
as far as I'm concerned, and this is, you know, anything I say is just me speaking. But once this lease goes into effect, the Hollerwood board is gone.
That sounds great.
Absolutely.
That sounds great.
So that's my opinion.
That's how I look at it.
So no industrial board. They can run the business as they see fit. And if there's a major thing needs to happen, they come to you all and say, look, this is what we need to do. That sounds awesome.
And I
with the
would,
next image too, we want Harvard Park, you know, to.
Yeah, family orientated, yes, 100%, yes.
One great question, but with that being your all's trademark name, are we gonna be allowed to print and use that? Like, how is that supposed to work? Keeping it Hollerwood. That's something that needs to be in that lease
Yeah, so
to
you
have
want
rights
to get that
to
in.
use the name.
That's a Robert question.
Yeah, that's definitely it needs to be in the lease. Cause that is its own entity.
I think Hollywood trademark.
Are we all college athletes now? We need an NIL agreement. That one?
Right, absolutely.
Well, that's a good thing about getting these people together, those questions come up.
Well, I mean, that's something that has,
I
you
mean, if y'all wanna
can't,
sell t-shirts with my likeness on it, I'll take this 20%, y'all can do
Anthony,
it.
we don't wanna scare the children,
I don't wanna
son.
offend you, but we going home.
We don't wanna scare the kids, Anthony. It ain't Halloween.
I buy one.
Oh, God.
They did already good, we going home.
All right. Is there any other concerns or discussions that y'all want to put up? Do you feel better? Y'all feel better after us sitting here talking about it? And I hope everybody does that sees that we're not out to destroy things.
The internet community is worried that it's going away.
Social media is the worst tool.
Well, it's the worst or it's the best, because look how many people we got here tonight that's standing up for it, right?
Please spread the word that we are in this to win. We're not in it to destroy it, to give it away, or sell it, whatever. I wanna see it work.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it don't work and everybody can get along, then that's the last option, you know, but I don't want that.
I foresee the lease going.
Yeah,
I really do.
I mean, because I'm used to going, you know, I'm used to going to Rush, and Nine Make Paradise, and everything just goes smooth, and everybody gets along, and everybody.
I've never seen nothing go smooth at
Well,
Rush.
what I'm saying
Somebody
is,
drunk people getting thrown in jail, that's all I know.
what I'm saying is, everybody has fun.
When I got
You know, and you're
salted
not,
in my
you're
driveway.
not got all this drama, please spread the word.
Really? The Rush, what they call them guys, the Rush.
Obviously, the several boards and too many emperors over this is not work, so, you know, I'm willing to say that us as a fiscal court, we will take it and assist whoever comes up and support them. And I would only suggest that planning other things as well as every quarter or whatever we set, come and say, this is where we're at today, and this is where we wanna go.
And like I said earlier.
Have a plan, have a plan.
To set these benchmarks up, what we would like to see, not what you have to do.
And under the right management, I don't think, I mean, that's a very easily attainable thing, that shouldn't be hard. Shouldn't be hard.
You vote my district, that's what you would expect me to ask.
That's right, don't forget that. I'll go talk to Timmy. Get him out of retirement.
Get him out, I love to be.
Anything else anybody want to add? All right, so, love to see y'all Tuesday night, and, yeah.
And you might wanna talk about if the contract don't come in and y'all can't come together and figure out this, and say, hey, look, Tuesday night's gonna be a regular meeting,
We'll post it.
and it'll
We
be,
posted it on the public information webpage.
and then,
I'm not seeing y'all people here.
and then maybe, and we're gonna have a meeting just for that, cause I'm telling you, when you have that meeting, you're gonna have a lot of turnout, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about people being mad, they're concerned, and they
Let's do
wanna
a
come here.
potluck where we all eat.
You know the turnout would be just as good with the signature page, but anyways.
You gotta remember, you guys got other business to take care of that night.
Thank you.
So you might wanna say, hey, let's do this next Thursday or something.
And give Robert time to go over, and you all time to go over.
We'll post it on the public information webpage, if it's available by next Tuesday.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
what you're saying, we'll post it on the web.
Tuesday at 3:00.
Hey, I said,
I would say by next Monday, we'll know what's going on.
Yeah. We should have something on the.
All right, is that good with everybody?
All right.
thank y'all, y'all welcome to stay.
All right. So, now that, we need a motion to adjourn. Oh, we got one more thing.
Come buy a truck or
Y'all
something.
y'all can stay, see, I got excited.
No matter who's there, we can bring back.
Yeah, we don't care.
Next one is, purchase of lease truck. The truck is, that's in question is.
She said she's.